Hi everybody, before we get into the video, I'd just like to say I've already recorded and edited this video, at which point I found out that there's a very similar video to this, at least a video that covers a similar topic, on the FM network by Mijhou FM. I will leave a link to it in the description, so if you guys don't like this video or if I don't explain it well enough, you can always go check that out. Like I say, no intention to copy, but as it is around a similar topic, we do cover a few of the same features, so just want to put it out there, and I'll let past Jake take it away from here.
Hello everybody, Jake here for FM Scout, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys a simple tip that you guys can all do really easily with pretty much any club that you can manage in this game that will hopefully help you save a ton of money and also make playing Football Manager a much better experience for you guys with much higher levels of satisfaction. But before we get into it, if you guys would like to hit that like button, it really helps me out and the videos out a lot in pushing these videos out to more people. So if you'd like to do that, then feel free. And if you want to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the best Football Manager content with daily and sometimes double daily uploads, then hit that subscribe button and let's roll the intro and get into the video. Hello everybody, so we are here with Bayer Leverkusen, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a little tip that can hopefully help you guys save a ton of money in Football Manager, as well as make you have a lot more fun within the game and get a little bit more tactical, get a little bit more creative with the things you do. Make sure you stick around throughout this video, because not only am I going to explain this tip to you, I'm going to be showing you ways in which you can get this tip to work better, and then I'm going to show you a jump into the future in this save to see how that tip has helped us out. If you guys have any other money saving tips that you'd like to see a video on, or you just want to share your information with other people in the comments, then do leave that comment down below. But I've delayed it long enough, let's get into showing you guys the tip that can help you save some money. So here we are with Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. It's a good team, there's not much wrong with it, a nice even spread of players, some attackers, some midfielders, some defenders, but let's imagine in a crazy world, we're just going to use this as an example. Let's say we want to play this tactic, it's the Nap Holy Ghost Fire 4-5-1, it can be any tactic that you guys want to use. If you do want to check this tactic out, I did do a video a couple days ago on that, but let's say we want to play this tactic and we realise we haven't got anyone to play wing back on the attack role. Obviously here we have actually got Wendell, but we're going to imagine that we don't, because this might happen with you guys where you're trying to make a new tactic, or let's say Wendell gets injured out for a season and all of a sudden you've got no left back. What do you do? Is there anything you can do other than just going out and spending money, probably at a premium because clubs know you're looking for a player in that position, to bring a player in? Well, one way that you can pinch the pennies and save some money is through player position retraining. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably using this already. If you have, then fair enough, but I know a lot of people won't have, and I think even if you are using it, I can show you guys a few ways that can make it a bit more efficient, or at least explain the underlying workings of how it works and ways you can use it. So in today's video I'm going to be retraining two players, a defensive midfielder into the centre back role to give us an extra ball playing defender, and one of our more attacking midfielders into a wing back on the attack role at left back. Now most of the time the way you guys will retrain players, I imagine, will be when you buy a young player who doesn't fit your system, or maybe someone comes for a youth intake who doesn't fit your system, or the other option is you've got an older player who basically isn't good enough to, let's say, play out wide anymore. Let's say Lionel Messi doesn't have the physical attributes by the age of 38 to play out wide. Maybe you drop him back into this playmaking role here, like the way that Rooney's done in the past, like the way Pirlo's done. You've seen players do the opposite though sometimes, like Lahm and Kimmich, who start off at the back and move further forward. There's plenty of ways to do things, but in Football Manager the way it works is this. So first of all, every player has a versatility attribute. So if we go and choose someone random from this club and we go, let's say Mijhou, this is a hidden attribute that you guys can't see, but you can usually get a good sense of it by looking at their role suitability maps that you can see here. We can see usually you might have a player who can play right back and maybe they're also accomplished at centre back. However, we can see Mijhou here can play right back, right wing back, left wing back, centre back, central midfielder and defensive midfielder. So I'm going to guess his versatility is pretty high. So this is a hidden thing that you guys can't see, but for the sake of this video we'll go and have a look at it just to prove a point. I imagine he will have like 15 plus versatility. Here we go, I haven't actually checked this before, I didn't plan this, but 17 versatility. Like I say, you can usually get a sense of that hidden attribute based on this. So the more versatile a player is, the more positions they're likely to know, and in most cases the better they will adapt to new positions. Now obviously you guys can't see it, it is hidden, but maybe if you see that your new right back can also play centre back and maybe midfield, maybe then he might have the ability to play on the right wing or something like that. Always something to look into. Now another important factor in player retraining is age. Mijhou, although he's 24, probably still has a bit of room to grow. Again, we'll use the editor just to double check. We can see that he has some room between his current ability and his potential ability. You won't be able to see this in a normal save, but you can usually get the idea by the fact that he hasn't maxed out his potential rating on his stars, so he's still got a bit of room to grow. And the younger a player is, the more potential range that they have and the easier they will adapt to new positions, because much like adding a player trait to someone, it does take up some of their potential, and retraining is no different. So when you retrain a player, it will use up some of their potential ability, so just be aware of that. But quite often, when you get a youth intake come through, you don't use, let's say, right midfielders, you only use right wingers. Then you might be able to train your right midfielder to right wing. He'll lose a bit of potential, but overall it's more useful for your team because he can fit into your system. Now actually, if we stick to Tinyedvad, we can actually see something here about role familiarity and how it works. Familiarity, it's a tough word to say, guys. Anyway, right back we can see that he is a natural. Now then you see other words like competent, natural, accomplished, unconvincing, etc. How this works is basically the more green it is, the better they are in that position, the better they'll perform, that kind of thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that he couldn't play right midfielder, it just means that right now he doesn't know how to play it. So this is familiarity, it's not how good he is in that position. So just because he is a natural right wing back doesn't mean that he won't actually be a better player in right wing. It just means that as of right now, without any training, as he is natural to this position, he will perform better there. Now these things are on a scale, as you can imagine. Usually you see it orange or light orange or dark red. That's not a good, and then green is better. So it starts off with the darkest red is ineffectual, they're no good there. Then if you use them there for a few days in training, they'll go to makeshift. Then eventually, if you train them for a few weeks, they'll get awkward. Then unconvincing, which you can see here. Then you go to competent, which we can see on the left side. And then you go to accomplished. And then finally natural, which is obviously when they'll be performing their best. As I say, the younger they are, the more chance they'll have of becoming natural in a new position. So that is Tinyedvad, but we won't be using him for this experiment. The players we're going to be using is Julian Baumgartlinger, a 32-year-old central defensive midfielder. Isn't going to get in our team anymore, let's say, in this simulation, because I don't know, we've got other young players coming through. I'm sure in real life he's still a good player, but we're going to retraining to be a ball playing defender. So to do that, we go to training. I'm going to set his intensity to double intensity, remove any additional focus so that he's not focusing on too many things at once, which will slow his progress down in learning the new position. But if we go to centre back, we can see he's got no familiarity with that role at all, and we're going to set him to ball playing defender on defence, take control of his individual training, and right now he's not familiar with it at all, but as time goes on he will get more used to it. But you'll also notice the good thing about this is you can use this to highlight different positions and see how well he might perform in different positions. We can see the reason we've picked Julian Baumgartlinger is because the highlighted areas are the areas that he needs to be a good centre back, and we can see that he's got strength, he's got a decent amount of pace, jumping reach, quite a few blue attributes, which in my Football Manager means that it's 15 or above. So I think he's doing pretty well for himself. Only a few attributes like first touch and vision where he's maybe not performing great, and that's just because it's ball playing defender and not centre back. But we're going to try and use him there anyway, suggest that he could do a decent job. And then the other player we're going to be doing this with, where is he? Nadim Amiri is the guy we're going to be using for the rest of it. We can see he's quite a good attacking player, a nice little all-rounder. Nothing suggesting that he could play fullback. But let's say, like we did say earlier, Wendell has gone and got injured. We're going to train him to be a left back, wing back on the attack role, and we can actually see the reason I've chose this guy is because he's young, he's quite versatile based on the fact that he can play multiple positions. So hopefully, if my point has been proven correct, Amiri should adapt better to this left role than Baumgartlinger will from going from a CDM to a centre-back, just because we can see here Amiri is younger and is more versatile in the fact that he already knows more positions, which suggests that his hidden attribute of versatility is higher than Baumgartlinger's. And we can see for a left-back he's got good crossing, good first touch, good passing, good technique, good stamina, good pace. He's probably lacking in a few of the mental defensive areas like concentration, decisions, marking is there too as a technical that he needs to improve on, but I think he's got a good chance of doing it. So again, we'll put him on double intensity so it will move a little bit quicker and we won't focus on anything else. So he's just purely going to be learning how to play the position. But another thing you guys should know before we go and simulate this is playing time is obviously key. Yes, they can learn it just through training, but we want to put him in the team as well so that they develop at a quicker rate. So if we go and find Amiri here, we can go and put him at left back. Instantly it's telling me don't do that, it's red, but we're going to do it anyway because we know that this is just a test. In reality, you wouldn't put him there day one without training them. You'd probably have to do a few sessions and get them in your team. Again, this will stop you guys having to panic buy and buy someone for a short term while someone's out injured, for example, because you can have one of these versatile players that can play in different positions like a James Milner does for Liverpool. So I've told you everything you need to know about retraining basically, and now I'm going to prove the theory by simulating until pretty much the end of the season and see how they've got on. Before we get into how these players have developed across the season, I'd just like to say if you want to check my channel out, the link to that will be in the description. We're about to start a new save over there with Lil. If you'd be interested in that, feel free to come over to the channel. We did do a Chelsea series that a lot of you guys loved, and you've gone and got me to like 1,200 subscribers recently, which is crazy numbers, so thank you a lot for that. And if anyone wants to come join the party, then feel free. Okay, so we are here near enough at the end of the season. Bayer Leverkusen doing very well in second place there, joint second with Borussia Dortmund. We've been simulating this on on holiday, so no specific training or anything. The assistant manager's done all that, but obviously the training that you did see about position training, that still took place. I made sure that that did. So hopefully they have learnt their new position, and straight away we can see Nadim Amiri has the most assists for Leverkusen this season, which is good to see, with 11 assists. A good performance from left back, I would say. So we're hoping that means that he's adapted to the role quite well. So let's go and check on Amiri. Again, this is near enough the end of the season now, probably a month or so to go with the Bundesliga season, but we can see Amiri has not only become competent and accomplished, he has actually become a natural wing-back, and in fact is the best wing-back on the attack role at the club now. Before, he didn't even appear when we looked at the 5 best wing-backs at the club. Now he is the best one. The German international has performed really well in terms of assists this season. Like I say, this probably wouldn't be an example you'd use because he's a pretty decent attacker. I wouldn't see why you'd need to retrain him, but obviously if you have someone coming through your youth intake, maybe this is something that you'd like to do, to retrain them, or if you do get a long-term injury or you lose someone on deadline day, this is the kind of thing that can fix it, instead of having to splash out 20 million on a backup left back who's going to last you half a season before that guy gets back from injury and you no longer need him, you know. So this kind of thing can save you tons of money in the long run, and it's why I did suggest it. And if we go and look at his training, we can see that he is a natural in this position. If we go and look here, natural, just as naturally as he was a central midfielder, just as naturally as he is a central attacking midfielder, he has gone and learned the left back role. So he's done really well. If you are interested, we are currently in April, but by January, so that was half a season, not even half a season really, a bit of pre-season and then a few months of playing, he was already at the stage of being accomplished in his position. So he adapted to it really well. To be honest, you don't often get it where a player becomes natural in a position at the age of like 23 by retraining. You usually just get accomplished, but Amiri's done really well due to his high versatility attribute. So yeah, if you are interested, it took him probably a season to get to natural, but only half a season to get to accomplished, which is pretty much the only thing you need. The difference between accomplished and natural in terms of performance isn't going to be the biggest difference in the world, and we could see that because by January he was still the most assists with about 6 assists for Bayer Leverkusen. So that hasn't really had the biggest effect. So if we go and look at Baumgartlinger, as we did mention, I'm going to guess he is not as good in centre back, and we can see it here. After a season he's only got to accomplished, which is of course fine, but like we saw with Amiri, because he's more versatile, he ended up getting to natural. But yeah, he's became a decent centre-back, not the best, he was only ever a 3-star midfielder, so the fact that he's now a 2.5-star centre-back, I would say is pretty good. To be honest, he didn't have the best season, it wasn't a worse season, it wasn't amazing either, but really, you're not really going to use someone like Baumgartlinger in centre-back. This was just an example of someone who shouldn't perform as well as Amiri did, and we were proven right there. Although this could still be a very useful backup, if you know an older player isn't going to be a first-team player anymore, why not retrain them for different positions, just so they can help you out if you ever need them. That way you can still get game time from them. Like often I hear people who buy just old players for mentoring, which is fine, but if you retrain them too, then at least you're going to get something else out of them. You might actually be able to use them in game if something happens, like an injury crisis. So I think he's done pretty well there as well. Not as good as Amiri, but still very good. So hopefully you guys will use this tip of retraining players. Remember the different factors that will affect how well they do retrain, but I think this can save you tons of money in the long run, especially stopping you guys doing them panic purchases that I know we're all capable of. And it will also hopefully help your youth intakes be more successful too, because you'll no longer get them players come through that are just waste to your club. You can at least retrain them into a position that they might actually be useful in if they don't fit your tactical style. So that will be the end of today's video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, smash the like button for me and comment your other tips down below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn your notifications on to the channel. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.